Nails that tend to grow upwards is one of the most challenging nail types. On top of that, we have sticky cuticles, wide nail beds, and long extensions that are about to fall apart. Let's fix that, and I will share some tips on how to work with nails that grow upwards.
Hello guys, this is Anastasia and this is what the nails of the client look like. Some nails are broken and some nails are missing. So there were definitely many mistakes in product application in building the structure of the nails. So let's take a closer look and figure out which exact mistake did they do. Natural nails of this client tend to grow upwards, but I wouldn't say that this is to an extreme level. I would say they slightly grow upwards. But because there was a mistake in building the structure, sidewalls were missing when doing stiletto nails. It may look fine on the first day after nail extensions, but as the nails grow longer, and we know that her natural nails tend to grow upwards, it will look like they're extremely going up. But since it's been about only 2 weeks after she did nail extensions, I have a feeling that they were tending to look upwards from the very beginning. On the other hand, we have a similar picture. Most nails are broken and some of them are missing. If we take a look at the remaining nails, we can say they are thin. There is definitely enough amount of product on some nails. I would even say there is too much. So why did they break though? Let's take a look on the other side of the nail and we will notice that even though the nail is rather thick, most of this thickness is under the nail, which doesn't really bring any benefits to us. It doesn't make them stronger, it does the opposite. It gives this extra weight under the nails, which makes them easier to break. So when I look at these two broken nails, it's obvious that in the apex area where we actually need more thickness of the product, there is just a little product which is on top of the nail. Sidewalls are missing and sometimes overfiled in the stress area, which is actually the most important area that gives the strength to the nails. And finally, on top of that, if we take a look on her natural nails, we can see that she has oily skin, which is one of the most challenging types to work with, which means missing even a small spot somewhere near the sidewall can lead to product lifting. So we need to be extra thorough when doing nail prep. That's all we can see just by examining the remaining nail extensions, so let's file off the color and we will probably be able to see more of the remaining mistakes. By the way, this tutorial was recorded by Anna Fox, Nails Pro Academy educator and my former student. Oh my god, look at this! This nail is so thick, but all the thickness is under the nail. Also, as we file the product in the center, it's basically falling off by itself, which means the nail prep was not good, and also I have a feeling that the product was not fully cured, which can happen maybe if the lamp is not strong enough, maybe the product wasn't cured long enough, or the product itself is simply not good. Doesn't matter what kind of technique was used to do these extensions. If it was regular forms, then they were not fit correctly. If they used dual forms, then also we have majority of the product under the nail, which is incorrect. However, I get it. When we have ski jump nails, which is nails that grow upwards, we always want to try to fix it by trying to point them in the opposite direction, which is downwards. So if you press onto the dual form too much, they will look like they're growing slightly downwards, and it may look nice from the beginning, but these nails are not going to last at all because all the structure, the apex that we need, will be under the nail. Oh my, we just filed off the color, and do you see what's going on under it? Everything is almost white. There's product lifting almost all over the entire nail, so this nail would have fall off within a couple days. And now as we try to file off the product, it's falling off by itself. It feels like like there was basically no nail prep or the product was not fully cured. The first and the most important rule when working with nails that grow upwards is before doing nail extensions, you need to trim them as short as possible. Because if we take a look at these nails from the side view, you will see that most of the times it's the free edge that tend to grow upwards. The nail plate itself usually is mostly flat. Sometimes it may be facing upwards a little bit, but not that much. So don't be afraid to make them as short as possible, because that way it's going to be easier for you to fix that direction by doing nail extensions. We're going to use baby powder since we have an oily type of the cuticles. It is going to absorb this extra oil and make it much easier for us to do dry manicure. Now, there are many brands that offer a special dry manicure powder, or you can use a regular baby powder like the one by Johnson & Johnson. First, we need to push back the cuticles and clean the sidewalls with a flame-shaped diamond bead with red abrasive mark. The speed is about 18,000 rotations per minute. So what is different when we are dealing with oily cuticles and oily skin? We need to try to make it dry at least for a while. So one of the options is to use baby powder. If you don't have it, you can use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. If you don't have it either, then regular alcohol will work. You need to apply it only on the cuticle area to make them slightly dry, at least for a half an hour. Once you see that the skin is getting wet and oily again, you can reapply it as needed. Another common question regarding upwards growing nails is that can we fix the nails not just by doing extensions so they will look like they're growing straight, but actually fixing the direction of their growth? And the answer is absolutely, because I myself had 2 nails on my right hand which tend to grow upwards. So once you will grow your nail beds longer, it will not look as obvious, but it may take a while depending on your age, genetics, and many other things. But the point is the same as when we're trying to fix short and beaten nails. All we need to do is to whether always have an overlay or extensions, so the free edge of our natural nails is always protected with some kind of product, so the nail beds over time tend to grow longer. Finally, the last part of the dry manicure is trimming the dead tissue with a diamond bead and red abrasive mark. The speed is 16,000 rotations per minute, reverse mode. This shape of the drill bit is perfect for this kind of nails because we also have some small hangnails along the sidewalls and we can use it too to clean them. Let's clean the remaining debris and dust with alcohol wipes. Then we apply dehydrator, non-acid primer, and a thin coat of the base coat. When you're working with the nails like this, where we have puffy sidewalls, there's always a chance of accidentally touching the skin. So please be careful. Apply base coat in a very thin coat as close to the skin as possible, but without touching it. Cure for 30 seconds. We're going to use hard gel and dual forms. And here's a simple trick on how you will know on how to apply the dual form. We are going to apply a dot out of Milky Builder gel on the nail, and this is going to be our guide on how high we're going to go with the dual form and product application. So technically this is the height of our apex. If you're an experienced dual form nail tech, you may not need this, but this is actually very helpful because you will know on when you need to stop, especially when working with hard gel, because with polygel, in my opinion, it's much easier, but with hard gel, it's just hard to tell when you need to stop applying the dual form. When dealing with wide nails, we always want to choose a smaller size of the tip or the dual form to make them more narrow. But please do not do this, especially with dual forms. It's so important that they're going to cover the entire nail plate from one sidewall to the other. Now let's build the shape and the structure of the nail in the dual form first. We're going to do oval shape. When we have wide nails, I do not recommend them to make them super pointy, especially if you're not making them too long. When applying gel, apply a little more in the center and a super thin layer near the cuticle and along the sidewalls. Apply it on the nail and quickly freeze cure it. Since we're working with medium consistency builder gel, it is going to move, so you need to freeze cure it as fast as possible. After 10 to 20 seconds, depending on the product you're using, we can pinch the nail, freeze cure it again, and then you can fully cure it in a full-size lamp for 1 minute. Once again, after freeze curing for 10 to 20 seconds, we can fix the product underneath to make it more smooth. We can pinch the nails if needed. After fully curing them for 1 or 2 minutes, we can remove the form. And now we can see that it's almost perfectly smooth and there is not much filing and shaping needed. We mostly need to file the sidewalls and the shape of the nails. Also check if the length and shape is identical on every nail. Most hard gels are rather easy to file, so 180 grit file will be enough for filing and shaping the nails. But make sure that the sidewalls are on point, because like we just determined at the beginning of the video, overfiled sidewalls usually always lead to broken nails eventually. Even though it's usually so tempting when you're dealing with wide nails. Now let's apply the color and do some design. We're going to use this beautiful electric blue color. It's a bit of a jelly color. I mean, it's not like completely transparent, but it's not a white-based color. So we have a milky background underneath, which makes it appear even better. And on some nails, we're going to apply a semi-transparent silver color. And on some nails, we're going to do a nail art that absolutely any one of you can recreate, because it doesn't require any painting skills and it looks awesome. So you will need a regular paper from the form, and we will use the same colors as for the background, silver and blue. Apply a few small drops of each color, do not apply too much. So we got inspired by this bottle, and then you need to take something flat, like we're using this card for stamping. It doesn't really have to be transparent, and then you lay it flat so we have this beautiful marble look. Cure for about 20 to 30 seconds. Basically, we just created a cute marble transparent sticker out of gel polish. If you have a sticky layer on your nails, then you can use this to apply this design, or you can also apply a thin layer of the base coat and apply this design on top. Both of these colors look kind of cute, but I think they're going to look better if we apply a second coat, both on silver and blue. I would like to show you a little trick with the top coats. There are two different kinds of top coats, the one with UV filter and the one without UV filter. So with no UV filter, you will not see any change in the color. It's going to be exactly like it is. So it works perfectly for any dark and neon colors. However, when we're dealing with light colors like white, milky, pastel, or if we have a client who's going on vacation and there's going to be a lot of sun tanning and sunbathing, then using top coat with UV filter might be a better idea, because it is going to prevent these colors from yellowing, but it is also going to appear slightly bluish, which some people simply don't like. So keep that in mind when choosing a top coat. This design is so fun to create and looks so stunning, so I think it's going to be a crime if we don't do it on another nail. So when mixing the colors, make sure you make it as flat as possible, because if this part is going to be thick and you cure it, you will have a hard time placing it on the nail without adding extra volume. It should be like paper thin. Then when you apply it on the nail, make sure that you get rid of all the bubbles, and before we seal it with a top coat, I recommend you to apply any thick consistency base coat to seal it first, to make sure none of these particles are going to fall off. Sometimes you will see that some of the parts are going outside of your nail and ruin the shape slightly, which is totally fine. We can simply fix it with a regular file. Also, if you see that some particles get too close to the skin, it's better to sacrifice the design and fix it with a file, because then you can always use the same color and fix it by filling the empty spaces, or you can even hand paint some missing parts of the design if you would like to add them. I think that proper nail structure and nail shape is always most important. So we seal them with a base coat already, and then we end up building the structure with a top coat. So you can add some extra product and finalize building the apex. After fully curing the top coat and the color, we can also file the shape to make sure that it's on point. Let me guys know, what do you think? I think that this shape suits this client so well. It's almost impossible to tell that her nails are actually growing upwards and they're also wide. Thank you so much for watching. If this is your first time here on my channel, consider subscribing, as I post nail art tutorials just like this one every week. See you in my next one. Goodbye.